All right, let's talk about points in Civil 3D. So between tutorials, the only thing I've done is add this image of the geolocation instead of having the whole thing there. You know how to do that. Points in Civil 3D act as a 3D reference spot. And this is something that you can import from a file like we did from actual survey data, but you can also just create points as you need to through the program. All the points are listed in a point group or under the points in the Prospector tab, and these are actually editable fields. So it's kind of hard to see, but if we expand this, then all of these we can click on and we can change what they have, the properties. So know that you always have that option if you need to, and it's something that I will kind of demonstrate that you can delete points in a couple minutes here. Just gonna get this out of the way again, because this is not a field that I use very often. So that's what points are. Points are super helpful. And again, they're a 3D reference, and this is your main way of looking at survey data and also making sure you're making accurate lines and drawings around your site. Point groups are a way of organizing points. Point groups can take on different styles. If you remember when we talked about layer properties and how layers can have different styles to them, point groups are largely the same thing for points, where you can have one point group, for example, turn all of the X's blue, and another one have all of them be red. That way you can easily distinguish between point groups. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the groups that you made. I'm going to show you what the ones I made, for example, ground, electrical, storm, and light. We're going to make point groups out of them, and rest assured there are ways you can do this automatically through Civil 3D, and you don't have to go through and assign all 200 points you have to those point groups manually. So to get started with that, we are first going to create the groups. So if you go to point groups here, you can right click on point groups and click new. So we're going to do that. I'm going to call this one storm, and the storm points are all either like storm drains or storm sewers. And in the point style, I'm going to assign these the storm sewer style. I'm also going to turn off any labeling just because you can see here, it gets really crowded when you have it on. This information is all styling, so it's not getting rid of the information you have, it's just taking out the display aspect of it. So I'm going to do that, and I'm just going to hit OK for now, apply and OK, and I'm going to do this for the rest of my point groups. Okay, I have all of my point groups created here. If I forgot one, or I need to import more data later, or want to make a new category, you can always just add on to this. But you'll notice if we click on survey points, all the points are there, but if we click on one of these, there's nothing there. So now we need to populate the point groups. And the way we're going to do this is through keys. Keys will basically search this description text on each point, and it will find matching descriptions and automatically assign them to a point group. This is sort of an advanced feature, but it's something I want to show you guys because it's a good tool. And once you do it with one point group, you just have to copy paste the steps to all the rest of them. So what you're going to do is in your tool space, you're going to go to the settings tab, and under settings, we're going to navigate to point and then description key sets. From here, we are going to click on this and right click it and click new. Here we need to make a new key set. And these keys are what Civil 3D is going to search for in order to assign the properties to each point group. So I'm just going to name these the exact same thing as I named my point groups. You can name them differently, but I think this is the easy way of doing it. All right, I've made all these keys. but this is just creating the object, not assigning any properties to it. So now I'm going to go into one of the keys, right click it, and edit the key. And this little pop-up will come up. I will say these pop-ups in Civil 3D I think are some of the most annoying. It's really easy for them to minimize themselves, and then you are stuck searching for them, and it's really easy to exit them out or to move them around. I've seen many people have them here and then close them out, and like here and close them out, and then they're searching and they can't find it. So just be aware of where these kind of UI boxes live. So in here, this is where we can actually make the key. To do this, we're going to go into the code, and this is where we can actually change the description key. I'm trying to see if I can make this any bigger for you guys. You can see, there you go. Now, the code is what Civil 3D will look for. So it's going to look for this exact string of text that we put in here. The way to get around doing something that is different, for example, I mentioned you could string two keys together. You could put, for example, ground and boundary and sidewalk, is using asterisks. So if I type just ground, it will look for all the points that have exactly this in it. But if I put ground and put an asterisk before and an asterisk after, then it will look for this anywhere in that text string. So I think putting asterisks is a good bet to do as long as your keys aren't super complicated. This will make sure you get all of them, and it will also let you double count points into multiple groups. Double counting points in multiple groups is totally okay. Just remember that it will only show one point style for each point. So just go through and do this for all of your keys. I'm going to do this for ground. I just showed you how to do that. And I'll show you it for one more. Here I can do the electrical. And one of the nice things about this is I know no other of my points have electrical or a similar word in them, so I don't even have to write out the whole word if I don't want to, and it'll still find those. And just do those for the rest of your groups. Always a good place to save now that you've completed that. You'll still notice that nothing is updated. Now we just need to assign these keys to the point groups, and the eagle-eyed among you might have seen a place to do that. So if you go back to your prospector, into your point groups, and you go back into properties, you can see a couple of extra tabs here with even more information. Here, we're going to go to the raw description matching tab. And this is where you can see all of the keys that we made. You'll notice some here that you never made. These are preset into Civil 3D, and so you could use those as well. So this is the tree group for me, so I'm going to select the tree and hit apply and OK. You can see already that it automatically took any point labeled with tree, changed the style, and got rid of the description. And now those points are in here as well. So you're just going to go through and do that for all of your groups. So I'm going to do that for lights here. This is not a super hard process. And one of the nice things is that you can do it fairly quickly. You can see that there's points and lights now. Can't really see where they are yet, so I'll go through and do the rest of these. But if I don't like the style of lights, I can always go back and change it. Do electrical. Apply OK. Round. Storm. So, okay, here is a great example. It looks like I missed sidewalk. So I can go through and make those. I don't need to show you that though. So I'll make another point group for sidewalk, and I have a lot of points with no labeling. So that's just because I took all of the points with just the ground label and I kept them as basic points. If you don't like that, you can hide them also. So for example, if I don't want to see any of those ground points, I can go to properties, point style, scroll all the way up and go to none. If you hit apply, then they have no visual display. For now, I'm going to keep them with the style. So maybe I'll do standard. How does that look? Pretty much the same. I'll keep it as that. And so, yeah, just do the same process, and I will meet you guys back when I have done it for sidewalk. Okay, so I'm back. I made my sidewalk point group and assigned it to the points, but I actually don't like this styling, these blue triangles, and I cannot find one that I like. So what do you do if one of these point styles don't work for you? Well, you can create your own. If you see this button to your right here, here's where this dropdown has a couple of different options. You can create new, copy current selection, edit a current selection, or pick from drawing. I quite like the styling of this one, but I don't like the color. I think it needs to be darker. So I'm going to copy the current selection to edit it into a new one, but you can also create it from scratch as well. I'm going to call this sidewalk, and in this marker tab, you can really see what the marker would look like. So I like this triangle marker. I think it's pretty good, but I want to change the color. So I'm going to go to display, and I'm going to change this marker color to an even darker blue here and hit OK. And you can see that these colors are also controlled by layers. So it's possible for you to adjust this without ever going into this menu and just doing it through the layer properties as well, which is why layers can be so powerful if you're good at using them. So I think I like this darker color. Are there any other changes I want to make? I can use a custom marker as well. So maybe I like a line better because it kind of signals the sidewalk. And I can put a little square around that as well. So I'm just going to apply, OK, apply, OK. That pops out to me much more than it did before. Very clear where the sidewalk is. And just a reminder that, again, it might not and probably will not align with your geolocation data. All right, that looks good to me. The last thing we're going to do is create one more point group. And this is going to be called a hide point group. So I'm going to call this hide all, or hide below, sorry. And here we're going to intentionally take the point style of none, the point label style of none. From here, instead of using the raw description matching keys that we've been using, you can instead just assign it from point groups that already exist. So I'm just going to put all of the survey points in here. And what this means is, if you remember how I talked about you can assign points to multiple point groups, this hide below point group is going to hide any of the layers or the point groups below this one for easy visibility. So I'm just going to apply and OK. You'll notice all your points are gone. This is the order of the point groups here, and this is also the draw order you can think of for the point groups. So whatever point group is on top is going to get priority over the one on the bottom. What this means is that I can take this and I can move it around by right-clicking point group and right-clicking properties. And if I move this hide below layer down, any layer above it will now appear. So I can apply an OK. And now since the sidewalk is above it, all the sidewalk points show up. But I can keep going, and I can put this hide below layer all the way to the bottom, and now all of my points will show back up. So as you keep working on your file, this amount of points is going to become extra information for you. You will not need all of these. This hide below layer makes it really easy to change the visibility of your point groups without having to change the styling of your point groups. So highly recommend you make that and use it to your advantage throughout this part of the project.